The Colorado River is more than just water. It's a living artery that pulses through the heart of the American Southwest, shaping both the land and the lives of those who depend on it. It's the lifeblood of the region, sustaining communities, wildlife, and entire ecosystems that would otherwise wither in the desert sun. The river's journey begins high in the snow-capped peaks of the Rocky Mountains, where melting snow and ice gather into a trickle that marks the river's humble origin. From there, it carves a 450-mile path to the sea, sculpting dramatic canyons, nourishing arid deserts, and creating a ribbon of life through some of the harshest landscapes in North America. Along its course, 40 million people rely on the Colorado for drinking water, for growing food, and for generating power, making it one of the most vital rivers in the United States. It sustains major cities like Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Los Angeles, fueling the growth of vibrant urban centers in the middle of the desert. The river's water irrigates millions of acres of farmland, turning dry earth into fields of green and feeding families across the nation. Its powerful flow is harnessed to generate electricity, lighting up homes and businesses across the Southwest. The Colorado also supports 30 tribal nations, whose cultures and traditions are deeply connected to the river's waters and banks. For centuries, the river seemed eternal, a wild, untamable force that carved wonders like the Grand Canyon and inspired awe in all who witnessed its power. But today, the Colorado River is in trouble. Its flow diminished and its future uncertain. Human demands have outgrown what the river can provide, straining its resources to the breaking point. Climate change is shrinking its flow even further, with hotter temperatures and prolonged droughts leaving the river weaker each year. The once mighty Colorado is now a fragile system, and the communities, farms, and wildlife it supports face an uncertain and challenging future. We can no longer afford to see the Colorado as an endless resource. Its limits are now painfully clear. The fate of the river, and the fate of everyone who depends on it, are now inseparably linked. The story of the Colorado River is no longer just one of creation and abundance, but of survival, adaptation, and the urgent need for change. The choices we make now, how we use, protect, and restore this river, will determine if the Colorado endures for generations to come. Scientists are stunned, not just by the scale of the changes, but by how rapidly they're unfolding before their eyes. What was once thought to be a slow-moving crisis has accelerated into an emergency. The Colorado River, a lifeline for millions, is transforming at a pace that few predicted. Its waterline is receding, exposing scars on the landscape that tell a story of loss and uncertainty. Lake Mead and Lake Powell, the river's two largest reservoirs, are at historic lows. Bathtub rings mark where water once was. These stark white lines are more than just mineral deposits. They're a visual record of how much has vanished. This isn't a normal drought, it's a mega drought, the worst in over 1,000 years, intensified by climate change. The land is parched, and the river valleys that once teemed with life now echo with emptiness. Less snow falls in the Rockies, and what does melt evaporates before reaching the river. The snowpack, once a reliable source of water, is shrinking year after year, leaving streams dry and reservoirs unfilled. The reservoirs are being drained faster than they're refilled. Each year, the gap widens, and the water that remains is stretched thinner and thinner to meet the needs of cities, farms, and wildlife. Even the river's smaller tributaries, like Utah's San Rafael, are running dry for months at a time. These once reliable streams are now silent, their beds exposed to the relentless sun. Once, these rivers always flowed. Now, stretches are just cracked mud and silence. The absence of water is a stark reminder of how much has changed in such a short time. This drying is unprecedented and signals a deeper crisis. Scientists warn that we are approaching a tipping point where recovery may no longer be possible. The entire river network is under strain, not just the big lakes. Tributaries, wetlands, and groundwater reserves are all feeling the pressure, threatening the entire ecosystem. The silence where water once flowed is a wake-up call. It's a haunting quiet that speaks volumes about the urgency of the crisis. The Colorado River system is being pushed beyond its limits. Fish, birds, and plants that depend on the river are struggling to survive as their habitats shrink and disappear. The changes are no longer gradual, they're happening now. What was once a distant threat is now a daily reality for those who live along the river. The landscape is transforming before our eyes. Rocky banks and dry channels are replacing what used to be lush, flowing waterways. The river's health is failing, and the warning signs are everywhere. From empty reservoirs to posted alerts, the evidence is impossible to ignore. We are witnessing the unraveling of a vital system. Communities, economies, and entire ways of life are at risk as the water disappears. The time to act is now. The choices we make today will determine whether the Colorado River can recover or whether this silence becomes permanent. The San Rafael River, winding through Utah's rugged canyons, was once a sanctuary for unique native fish and a lifeline for the desert. Its waters carved a home for species found nowhere else on Earth, creating a vibrant ecosystem that thrived against the odds. Today, this river is a symbol of crisis. The flannel-mouthed sucker, bluehead sucker, and round-tailed chub, ancient fish that have adapted to the harshest desert extremes, are now fighting for survival as their world shrinks around them. For thousands of years, these resilient fish endured searing summers, flash floods, and unpredictable flows. Their story is one of persistence, a testament to nature's ability to adapt and survive. But now, their ancient world is vanishing. The river is drying up at an unprecedented rate, leaving behind only memories of what once was. As the water recedes, isolated pools form, temporary refuges that offer a fleeting chance at survival for the fish trapped within. But these pools quickly become death traps. Overheated by the relentless sun, starved of oxygen and choked with toxins, they cannot sustain life for long. Scientists who have studied these waters for decades have watched in alarm as native fish populations have plummeted by up to 85%, a staggering loss in just a few years. Even these hardy survivors, built to withstand the harshest conditions, cannot endure months without flowing water. Their resilience is being pushed beyond its limits. The relentless drying of the river is not just a seasonal hardship, it's a new reality, pushing these species to the very brink of extinction. The loss of these fish is more than a tragedy for a single species. It signals the collapse of an entire ecosystem, a web of life unraveling before our eyes. These fish are vital to the river's food web and overall health. They feed birds, mammals, and other aquatic life, keeping the ecosystem in balance. When they disappear, it means the river itself is fundamentally changed, its character, its vitality, and its future all at risk. The San Rafael is now a fragmented, broken system, its once continuous flow reduced to scattered pools and dry channels. What's happening here is not an isolated event. It's a warning for the entire Colorado River basin, where drought and overuse threaten rivers across the region. The crisis is spreading, affecting tributaries and main rivers alike, and putting countless species and communities at risk. The fate of these fish is inseparable from the fate of the river itself. As they struggle, so too does the river, and so do we. If we lose them, we lose the living heart of the Colorado, a source of life, culture, and history for the entire region. The time to act is now. Protecting these species and restoring the river's flow is urgent, and every effort counts. Their struggle is our warning, a call to recognize the value of these wild places before they vanish forever. The Colorado's crisis extends far beyond its fish. Riverside forests of cottonwood and willow are dying, starved of the floods they need to regenerate. Dams have tamed the river, turning it from a wild force into a managed canal. Without floods, invasive plants take over and native trees vanish. Songbirds lose nesting grounds, beavers struggle to build, and the entire food web unravels. Insects that once fed birds and bats are disappearing. The river's delta, once a lush wetland, is now a dusty plain. For 60 years, the Colorado has rarely reached the sea. The vibrant delta ecosystem is gone, replaced by salt and dust. This is what happens when we take too much from a river. The loss ripples through every living thing. At its core, the crisis is simple. We're taking more water than the river can give. The West's growth was built on the myth of limitless water. But climate change is making the river smaller. Every degree of warming means less flow. Dams and diversions have transformed the river, blocking sediment, warming water, and disrupting fish migration. Agriculture uses up to 80% of the river's flow, often to grow thirsty crops in the desert. Cities keep expanding, demanding more water. The system is overstretched, and the signs of collapse are everywhere. The river can't keep up with our relentless thirst. The legacy of past decisions is catching up with us. The Colorado is at a breaking point. We must rethink how we use every drop. The Colorado River Compact of 1922 divided the river's water among 7 states. But the agreement was based on unusually wet years, overestimating the river's true supply. States were promised more water than the river actually provides. This paper water created a structural deficit. Legal rights exceed real water. In wet years, reservoirs mask the problem, but the megadrought has exposed it. States still try to claim their full share from a shrinking river. The system is fundamentally out of balance. Changing the rules is politically fraught and slow. The San Rafael is one of many rivers where legal claims far exceed actual flow. The legacy of the past is strangling the river's future. We need new rules that match reality. As water levels drop, tensions rise among the 7 basin states, 30 tribal nations, and Mexico. The current shortage rules expire soon, but agreement on a new plan is elusive. The lower basin states want cuts shared across the watershed. The upper basin wants flexibility based on actual river flow. Negotiations are at an impasse, and a federal intervention looms. Tribal nations with senior water rights add complexity and must be central to any solution. Balancing the needs of cities, farms, tribes, and nature is a monumental challenge. The risk of legal battles and uncertainty grows. Only cooperation and sacrifice can prevent chaos. The river's future depends on finding common ground. Amid crisis, there are glimmers of hope. Scientists and land managers are building beaver-inspired structures on the San Rafael to create deeper pools for native fish. These pals slow the river, offering refuge when water is scarce. The ultimate goal is to restore conditions for beavers to return, creating resilient wetlands. In one stretch, beaver activity increased riverside habitat by 230% in a decade. These efforts buy time for native species and show nature's power to heal. But they're not a permanent fix. Larger changes in water management are needed. Helping nature now is an act of faith in the river's future. The Colorado River stands at a crossroads. If we keep taking more than it can give, catastrophe looms. Reservoirs could hit dead pool, cities and farms could lose water, and the region could descend into conflict. The time for hard choices is now. But there is another path: cooperation, innovation, and shared sacrifice. We must conserve water, rethink what we grow, and invest in recycling and efficiency. A new management plan must honor the rights of all: cities, farms, tribal nations, and the environment. The river's transformation is a wake-up call. Life in the desert has always meant adaptation. Now we must adapt too. If we act with wisdom and humility, the Colorado can endure. The river's fate is in our hands. The time to choose is now. The future of the West depends on it.